Hey everyone, it's VM Campos, photography fan. Welcome to another photo video. This time I'm doing something totally WTF. I'm gonna make an amazing lens for this Canon Rebel XS with a can of cat food. Believe it. Alright, so you're saying, how can he do it? I'll show you. Now, first of all, here I've got the Canon EFS 24mm wide-angle lens. It's a 2.8 lens that is modern and very nice for this breed of digital camera. This is the Canon DSLR, so it's got the mirror, none of this fancy mirrorless stuff at the moment. This is your run-of-the-mill Rebel XS that's 15 years old now. It still works great. Got this on eBay for a very affordable cost. And it's not about the body. This is the secret of photography. Don't tell anyone. It's not about the body of the camera. It's about the lens. Yes, the body, the internals of the camera help you take the perfect shots with the perfect settings, and you have all of these controls. Sure, but this is just a black box with a sensor, and you need the light to go through a lens and be captured to then actually make an image. Without a lens, you have that, which is worthless. This doesn't take photos. So you need a lens, whether it's the 24mm wide angle, the 50mm normal lens, 1.8 goodness, or something more extravagant like this 17 to 85mm f4 lens. Zooming goodness from very wide angle to pretty nice close-up. I'd love it faster than f4, but still gives good results. No, none of that. We're gonna use a can of cat food because, as it so happens, the Canon EF or the EOS mount, so either EF or EFS, is actually perfectly suited for the size right here of this can of cat food, the Wellness Signature Selects. I bet you never knew that this fits perfectly right here. And hey, wait a minute, that's starting to look like an actual lens right there, sort of. You just need the glass, but it kind of fits there perfectly in the right form factor. So what's the secret? So you may be wondering, can any brand of cat food be used for this project? Whether it's shredded boneless chicken and turkey or shredded boneless chicken and liver? That's the big question. Can you combine them both somehow and make an even more amazing lens? What kind of photos can you take? I'll show you in a moment. Okay, you got me. This is all kind of clickbait. You're not actually gonna make the lens out of the can of cat food. That's impossible. What are you talking about? All those photos, however, that I've been showing you so far have been shot with this camera and a can of cat food. The secret is to repurpose another lens. So here is the technique revealed. I'm taking the Canon SureShot 90 Mu2, repurposing its lens and putting it on the Canon XS with a can of cat food. Because this camera here, this point-and-shoot consumer-grade camera, one of the final ones of the line, has a 38 to 90mm focal length. As we can see here, it can go pretty far. Now imagine adapting this lens to this camera. Obviously, this lens is not interchangeable. This camera uses interchangeable lenses. So what I need to do is take this lens off of this camera. And I've done this previously. I'm not going to do it to this camera. I have two of these. I had two, one that was working, one that wasn't. This one's working. I'm leaving it intact. The one that's not working, I took it apart, and I'm going to take the lens. How do you take it apart? Well, wherever you find a screw, just unscrew. Wherever you've got a screw, take it apart. It'll come apart, no problem. So step one, take apart an old point-and-shoot camera that has a lens. Step 2, get a can of cat food that fits approximately on the mount of your camera. I'm using the Rebel XS, and the EOS mount right here is almost the perfect size to fit a can of cat food, specifically again the Wellness Signature Selects. I guess technically the 79-gram size that fits right there perfectly. Step 2, open your can of cat food and put the cat food in the camera. Yeah, right, just kidding. Don't do that. Feed your cat the contents of the cat food can, wash it out completely, and dry it before going on to the next step. Next step, cut a hole at the bottom of the can here around this first ring, which is just about the perfect size to fit the lens. So basically we're trying to create a holder for this lens, and this inner ring is the perfect size. Now then we also need a length that the lens extends beyond the sensor and the inner mirror. This is what the can is used for, because once we puncture the hole through this and put the lens through the can, it will be held in place so that you can take photos with this lens that was never meant for this camera. Amazing. And so here is the monstrosity, here is the beauty of the cat food camera in all its glory. 2 types of tape plus the lens. Real pros have the text on upside down. And so I discovered that that can of cat food was the perfect distance to then give me the leeway to attach the lens. It's a little bit awkward to focus, but if you keep it on long focus and take some shots, you'll be pretty happy. Or if you change your focus to close up and stay that way, you'll also be pretty happy. You might get some heads turning as you're out on the field with the can of cat food camera, but hey, that's what you want sometimes, attention for your art. So all jokes aside, there's obviously more aesthetically pleasing ways to set this up, because the main idea is that you want the lens. So if you have different ways to be able to focus the lens upon the plane of the camera, go for it. But I happen to find that a can of cat food with a hole in the middle will be able to let you mount the lens and take some photos awkwardly. But as we've been seeing, I kind of like the results of this lens. True, it was for a point-and-shoot camera that's more than 15 years old, but hey, vintage lenses are back. So yeah, I hope I didn't disappoint you too much. A can of cat food as a lens? What? I gotta click on that. But yeah, this is not clickbait. This is exactly what happened. I have here the lens from the brother that wasn't quite working, disassembled, all taped up, and then a hole in the can of cat food, that's all taped up, and then that is applied to the camera, and then that takes photos. All the photos that I've shown you are straight out of camera, no edits. All of those photos are taken directly out of the camera, no RAW conversion, it's straight JPEG, straight to you. And if you enjoyed those photos, then maybe this wacky project isn't such a bad idea. After all, we're getting this 90mm, actually this is even more than 90mm because of the crop factor. So with some amount of math, we are at the 90mm times 1.6 APS size sensor. Put that up on the screen here. Plus, we're at the full wide aperture. Normally when you zoom in on most cameras, the Aperture stops down, lets less light in. This is at the full aperture at the maximum zoom level. Plus crop factor is giving you some really deep zoom, as we're seeing in these photos. Wow, look at how close I am to the buildings. And then if I adjust the focus, which is simply going further or closer from the plane of the can of cat food relative to the plane of the camera, I am then focusing. Obviously, focusing is kind of difficult, so I set it and forget it at a certain length and then just take photos. In the camera itself, I have to set this to manual mode, and the only control that you have is shutter speed and ISO, but that's plenty. Normally, you set exposure with shutter speed, ISO, and aperture. Well, aperture is stuck on this, so you can never change the aperture, so you still have the settings of shutter speed and ISO. And all of the photos that I've been showing have been set by toggling between shutter speed and ISO, and pretty much just shutter speed. Set your ISO once, and then toggle the shutter speed. Just pay attention to your exposure there. Take a few shots. After all, you're on digital. Take a few shots to get the perfect exposure. Recompose, take the shot, and you've got some interesting results. And now I'd like to hear from you. What did you think about my can of cat food camera? Is this too much of a clickbait title, or did you kind of enjoy the video? Tell me in the comments. What's your idea for making a simpler rig compared to this abomination? Tell me in the comments. Have you repurposed weird lenses for your digital cameras? Tell me in the comments. Do you have ideas for other weird builds for me to do? Tell me in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. If you really liked this video and all my content, consider going over to the Patreon, patreon.com/vmcampos. Pledge to support the channel for $3.33 a month. What a deal! You help support the channel, you keep it going, you keep it funded, and you become a part of it. If you can't quite pledge at the moment, no worries. Simply like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. I would really appreciate it. This has been VM Campos, and I'll see you in the next video.